A cold November night, a small town in northern Italy. A young girl, full of life, suddenly vanishes without a trace. Her name, Yara Gambirasio, just 13 years old. She left her gym, just a short walk from home, but never arrived. No calls, no witnesses, no clear leads, only a chilling silence that would haunt her family and investigators for years. At first, it seemed like just another missing person case, but as the days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, one terrifying question remained unanswered. What really happened to Yara? Then, an unexpected discovery, a breakthrough in forensic science, a single trace of DNA that would unravel a web of secrets and expose a man leading a double life. How did a single drop of evidence crack one of the most puzzling cases Italy had ever seen? And why did it take years to find the man behind it all? This is the shocking case of Yara Gambirasio, a story so strange, it became the plot of a movie. November 26, 2010. A quiet evening settles over Brembate di Sopra, a small town in northern Italy. Nestled among rolling hills and peaceful streets, it's the kind of place where everyone knows each other, where life moves at a steady, predictable rhythm. But on this night, something would happen that would shatter that sense of safety forever. An event so shocking, it would leave the entire country in disbelief. At exactly 5:15 p.m., 13-year-old Yara Gambirasio steps out of her family home. A bright, energetic girl with a passion for gymnastics, Yara is heading to the gym, just a short walk away. It's a routine she's followed countless times before, a path she knows by heart. She's dressed for practice, carrying her gym bag, completely unaware that this ordinary evening is about to take a tragic turn. The streets are quiet. Streetlights flicker on as the sun sets. A cold November wind sweeps through the town. Yara walks confidently, her breath visible in the chilly air. But somewhere in the shadows, a presence lurks, unseen, waiting. And in just a matter of moments, Yara Gambirasio will disappear, without a trace. Her destination? The local gym just a few hundred meters away. A short walk, one she had made countless times before. But this time, she never came back. As the minutes slip away, concern slowly turns into unease. Yara should have been home by now. The walk to the gym is short, just a few minutes. But it's now 7 p.m., and she's still not back. Her mother picks up the phone and dials Yara's number. The line rings, once, twice, but no answer. Maybe she lost track of time? Maybe she's still at the gym? Another call. Still nothing. A sinking feeling starts to set in. By now, the streets are nearly empty. The night air grows colder. Her parents exchange anxious glances. Something doesn't feel right. Yara has never been late. She has never ignored their calls. This wasn't like her. They try again, and again. But the silence on the other end of the line is deafening. Their daughter is missing, and they don't even know where to begin looking. As the hours pass, panic sets in. The police are called, and a desperate search begins. What was once a quiet town is now filled with tension, as every corner is scrutinized in the hope of finding a sign, any sign of Yara. Officers and volunteers flood the streets, flashlights slicing through the darkness. The town's residents, once unaware of the horror unfolding, now join in, determined to bring the girl home. Flyers are printed, their stark black and white faces pasted to every wall, every lamppost. Aerial shots show the search teams combing through the fields, the forests, the very places that might hide a clue. But with each passing moment, the silence grows heavier, and hope begins to fade. Yara's disappearance seems impossible, and the more they search, the more elusive the answers become. It's as if she vanished into thin air, without a trace, without a sound. What happened to Yara? Where did she go? And why, despite all efforts, did investigators struggle to uncover a single lead? The search would continue for months, as the town clung to hope, until a shocking discovery would emerge, one that would turn everything upside down. February 26, 2011, 3 long months after Yara disappeared. The town is still reeling from the mystery, desperate for answers. Then, in the quiet stillness of Chignolo di Isola, a passerby walks through a deserted area, unaware of the devastating discovery ahead. As they move across the open field, they stop, their face contorting in confusion. In the distance, something doesn't look right. The camera lingers on their expression, a mix of disbelief and fear, as they slowly begin to realize the horrifying truth. A body. The camera pulls back to reveal the figure lying in the grass, partially covered. The open field now a stark, chilling scene. The silence is shattered by the distant sound of a police car pulling up, the screech of tires on gravel breaking the quiet. As police rush to secure the area, yellow tape is unfurled, sealing off the crime scene. The camera cuts to blurred, frantic images of officers moving with urgency, cordoning off the area as the gravity of the moment sets in. The body. The tragic end to a search that seemed endless. Tests confirm it. The body found in the field is Yara Gambirasio, her once vibrant life now reduced to a tragic mystery. The forensic team works meticulously, their every movement precise, as they carefully examine her body, still partially covered by a sheet. The scene is haunting, marked by the careful attention to detail, each movement revealing a piece of the grim puzzle. The autopsy reveals signs of a violent attack, yet strangely, there is no evidence of sexual assault, leaving investigators with even more questions. What happened to Yara? Why was she taken? As the forensic experts mark evidence with numbered markers, their cameras flash in rapid succession, documenting every piece of the scene. The faintest footprints in the mud, a discarded object that could hold the key to this terrible crime. The search for answers continues as the lab team works in silence. Every note they take, every clue they find, bringing them one step closer to unraveling the truth. The cause of death, though clear, presents a chilling puzzle. In the cold, sterile forensics lab, the investigation takes on an unsettling tone. A doctor or investigator examines Yara's body, her once lively form now reduced to a grim tableau of injuries. The camera focuses on the stab wounds, each one a reminder of the brutality she endured. Bruises mark her body, signs of a violent struggle, and the damage to her head tells a horrifying tale of the final moments of her life. Forensic experts work in silence, their careful hands taking swabs, examining every inch of her body for vital clues. As they gather the details, it becomes clear. The cause of death was a combination of deep stab wounds, severe head trauma, and exposure to the freezing cold. Each injury tells its own story, painting a grim picture of Yara's last hours. The team discusses their findings in hushed tones, their faces serious as they review the evidence, trying to piece together a timeline of her final moments. The body on the table holds the answers that will lead them closer to the person responsible. As the investigation progresses, the mystery only deepens, shrouding everything in uncertainty. Who killed Yara? And more importantly, why? The camera pulls back to reveal the vast isolation of the crime scene, the open field now bathed in daylight. The emptiness of the space seems to echo the void in the investigation. There are no answers, just a haunting stillness. A close-up of the crime scene investigator's notebook reveals the careful notes, detailed accounts of Yara's wounds, the body temperature, and other critical findings. Each entry adds a layer to the enigma but also compounds the confusion. The detectives, gathered in tense discussion, weigh every possibility. One speaks with urgency while the others listen, their faces etched with uncertainty and frustration. They pore over photos of the body, considering every angle, but there are still no clear answers. No signs of sexual assault or any connection that might explain the brutal nature of the crime. The case, instead of becoming clearer, is now more complex than ever. Each question only seems to lead to more questions. The lack of a personal connection between the victim and the perpetrator intensifies the mystery, leaving the investigators with little to go on and even less certainty. As the investigation drags on, the small town of Brembate di Sopra remains steeped in uncertainty. The streets are eerily quiet, the dimly lit houses casting long shadows, an unsettling reminder of the tragedy that has unfolded here. The community is still reeling, but the questions remain unanswered. Who could want to harm Yara? And why was she left to die in such a cold, desolate place? Her life cruelly taken in an isolated field. Inside the police station, the air is thick with determination, but also frustration. A police officer walks down a dim hallway, his steps purposeful, but his face betrays the weight of the case. In the next room, a bulletin board is covered in case files, photos, and evidence, clues that still don't add up. Investigators continue their work, flipping through file after file, analyzing security footage, and re-examining every detail. But despite their tireless efforts, there are still no clear answers. The mystery remains an unsolved puzzle, and the clock keeps ticking. With each passing day, the search for answers grows more urgent. As frustration mounts and leads remain elusive, the pressure intensifies. In the investigation room, police officers, lab technicians, and detectives stand around a large map of the town, their eyes scanning the pins and notes they've carefully placed. Each one a piece of the puzzle they can't yet solve. The tension is palpable as they plot out their next steps, hoping for a breakthrough that seems ever more distant. Amidst the frenzy, Yara's photo hangs on the wall, pinned with a stark finality. Her face stares back at them, frozen in time, a haunting reminder of the loss, the pain, and the unanswered questions. Who was responsible for such a horrific crime? The deeper they dig, the more the weight of the case settles over them, and the truth feels just as far out of reach as it did when they first began. The case had stalled. For months, every lead seemed to lead nowhere, and the frustration only grew. But then, a breakthrough, one that would breathe new life into the investigation. Forensic experts, tirelessly working behind closed doors, make a critical discovery. On Yara's clothes, they find something unexpected: the DNA of an unknown male. It's a powerful clue, but one that only raises more questions. The DNA doesn't match anyone in the criminal database. There's no match to any known suspects or prior cases. It's a ghost, a trace left behind by someone, but no identity to tie it to. The revelation shifts the direction of the investigation, and for the first time in months, there's a flicker of hope that the truth might still be out there, waiting to be uncovered. In response to this newfound lead, the investigation shifts into high gear. With no time to waste, police launch one of the largest DNA screening operations ever attempted. A staggering task lies ahead, testing over 20,000 men in the region. Police teams fan out across the area, systematically collecting DNA samples from any man who may be connected to the case. The scale of the operation is immense, with testing centers set up throughout the region. Men, young and old, wait in long lines, each one submitting a sample in hopes of helping to crack the case. Officers carefully check names off lists, ensuring that no stone is left unturned. Behind the scenes, the process is highly organized, each sample carefully collected, cataloged, and run through cutting-edge testing equipment. The sheer size of this operation reflects the urgency with which investigators are pursuing the truth. And with every sample, the clock ticks louder, pushing everyone closer to what might finally be the breakthrough they've been waiting for. After months of testing, the breakthrough finally comes. Forensic scientists examine test results, running them through the database over and over. Then, a flicker of hope, a partial match. The killer's DNA is linked to someone familiar, someone related to the deceased Giuseppe Garanoni. It's a clue, a faint thread that might unravel the mystery. The connection is immediate, and the significance is clear. This partial match could be the key to unlocking the truth. The team gathers around, eyes widening as they process the revelation. They're not just looking for any suspect now. They're looking for someone with a family tie to the man who may hold the answers to the crime. It's the breakthrough they've been waiting for, and the pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place. Then, the case takes an unexpected turn. The DNA doesn't belong to a living person. It belongs to a deceased man named Giuseppe Garanoni. But how could that be? Giuseppe had died years ago, his death nothing more than a distant memory. Yet there it is. The forensic team digs deeper, revisiting old case files and records, trying to make sense of this new, shocking revelation. His ID photo, birth and death dates. Each piece of information only deepens the mystery. Flashbacks to news articles and family photos show a life cut short long before this case had even begun. Investigators sit in stunned silence as they try to connect the dots. How could his DNA be linked to the brutal crime of Yara Gambirasio? And what does this twist mean for the investigation now? The question now becomes even more pressing. Who is Giuseppe Garanoni's son? As investigators dig deeper into his past, a digital family tree reveals a connection to an unknown son. The search takes them through public records, cross-referencing family members, and tracking down old documents. Officers question relatives, interview those who may have known Giuseppe, and search for any trace of the mysterious son. Then, a breakthrough, an old photograph surfaces. In it, a man who bears a striking resemblance to the composite sketch of the suspect. The pieces are starting to fall into place, but with each step forward, more questions arise. Who is this man? And how is he tied to Yara's tragic fate? With the breakthrough in DNA analysis, the investigation takes a dramatic turn. The team now focuses on uncovering the hidden connections that could unlock the mystery of Yara's killer. The investigation board grows more intricate, with photos, maps, and DNA analysis charts linking Giuseppe Garanoni's family tree to new, promising leads. As detectives work tirelessly, they pore over records and conduct interviews with potential family members, searching for anyone who might hold the key to understanding the man who might be responsible. A quiet determination sets in. Every lead, every bit of information, brings them closer to a truth that has long been hidden. As the investigation presses forward, the search for Giuseppe Garanoni's son takes a darker, more unexpected turn. Investigators follow new leads, arriving at a seemingly ordinary address that hides a deeper connection to Giuseppe's past. Meanwhile, a sketch artist begins work on a new composite, piecing together the face of a suspect, a figure who could be the key to unlocking this haunting mystery. In the interrogation room, tension rises as a family member or close acquaintance of Giuseppe answers questions with cryptic responses, adding more layers to the complex case. Each new revelation pulls investigators and the audience deeper into a web of secrets, pushing the search for the truth down a path no one could have anticipated. As the investigation intensifies, police dig deeper into the life of Giuseppe Garanoni, uncovering long-buried secrets. In the chaos of the case, new evidence begins to surface, fragments of a hidden past, once forgotten, now brought to light. Photos emerge, revealing a man with a secret life, a love affair concealed for years, a forbidden connection, one that would change everything. Then, the breakthrough they've been waiting for. A match. A critical piece of the puzzle falls into place. In the sterile glow of the lab, the DNA sample is compared, each strand analyzed with precision. It's an exact match. Massimo Bossetti's DNA is found on Yara's body. Massimo Bossetti seemed like an ordinary man, blending into the fabric of everyday life. A construction worker, married, father of 3. To the outside world, he was just another face in the crowd. But beneath the surface, something darker lurked. His secret history, the connection to the unspeakable crime. As the investigation zeroed in on him, they watched closely, closer than he ever knew. The investigation into Bossetti took a more personal turn. With each passing day, the officers closed in, monitoring his every move. Footsteps echo in the quiet streets, the hum of passing cars blending with the growing sense of inevitability. The eyes of the investigators never left him. Each moment, each step, bringing them closer to the truth they had been chasing for years. The net was tightening, and Bossetti didn't even know it.